morning, Frank. How are you enjoying your iPhone?
Well, Tim, I sure am loving the dynamic island and buttery refresh rate display.
I am so happy to hear you love our products, but I'm also excited for promotion to come to cheaper devices.
Wait, you want to... What?
Well, in just a couple years, we're going to be adding that refresh rate to the lower end iPhone.
But, Tim, you don't understand. This is how I flex on broke people. This is important to me. That's the whole reason I got it.
Well, the pros will still retain better camera features, and they'll still have faster data ports.
No one cares about that, Tim. All people notice is that responsive, buttery, smooth refresh rate. If you can get that on the lower-end iPhones, how are people supposed to know I have more money than them?
Well, how about we have more exclusive color options for the pros?
Most people have cases, Tim. You need something else, otherwise I'm gonna get mad. I might even consider selling my Apple stock.
Alright, well how about we, raise the ProMotion ocean, and your camera hole in the top actually gets smaller.
I'd rather the hole go completely away and there's just no cutout at all.
That might take some time, but I think we can do it.
You win this time, Tim, but don't tempt me. I might even downgrade to just 2 terabytes of iCloud instead of 4.
Well, we wouldn't want that.
I forgive, but I never forget.
I love that kid.
Spoiler alert to everyone who's excited for the future of the iPhone, because Ross Young, a pretty reputable supply chain analyst, has kind of leaked most of the roadmap for the next few generations of iPhone display. So in case you're tired of talking about the iPhone 15 Pro and all that, because that feels like all we talk about these days, this will let you know what you're looking forward to in years to come. And yeah, it's not terribly exciting, but while we're killing time for Dub, this is all we've got to read, okay? There's more interesting stuff going on the EV channel. I'll just subtly plug that. But just to recap the display specs, the iPhone 15 lineup should remain mostly the same, as in the Pros or the Ultras are still going to retain ProMotion, and the regular 15 and 15 Plus, they're still stuck with 60 Hz. But Apple's throwing you a little bit of a bone, because Dynamic Island should be standard across the iPhone 15 lineup this year. So if that was a big feature for you, or that was the reason you didn't want to go with a 14 Plus, there's maybe a reason to go with the 15 Plus, also USB-C. And unfortunately, it sounds like next year with the iPhone 16 lineup, it should remain mostly the same. ProMotion on the high end, 60 Hz on the low end, Dynamic Island standard. But the iPhone 17 coming out in 2025, when we all have our jetpacks and robots have taken over the economy, according to Ross Young, that's when LTPO panels, which have the dynamically changing refresh rates, should be cheap enough in order to bring them to the lower end iPhone. So we're still not sure whether that means we'll get a mini iPhone or a Plus, or maybe just one size for the lower end, but he's saying that's when standard priced iPhones, you know, sub $1,000, should be getting 120 Hz, which is kind of exciting for me because, you know, I'm a big fan of ProMotion, but also I was still never quite sure if ProMotion would ever come to non-Pro devices. You know, the iPad Pros have had ProMotion since 2017, and now it's 2023, and there's still no plan in sight, as far as we can tell from the leaks and rumors, to bring 120 Hz to any non-Pro iPad. So I was kind of skeptical and paranoid we would never get ProMotion on a non-Pro device, but Ross Young is saying, just to catch up, I guess, with the Android competition and the fact that the display panels should be pretty cheap by then, iPhone 17 lineup ProMotion should be standard. But of course, that would make the Pros feel a lot less captivating from a display point of view, right? So the other feature rumored to come to just the 17 Pros and Ultras, so that you can justify spending the extra $300, is quite literally them sinking that camera hole at the top of the display to just become a hole punch, so it will basically look like every other Android. I'm sure it'll still have Dynamic Island support and stuff, but it can just probably fit more text or information up there than the previous and current Dynamic Islands. That way, the cutout at the top is a little bit less intrusive than what it is currently, and that's just going to be exclusive to the Pros. Just for 2025, and then 2026 comes around, when humanity no longer exists. But that's when that smaller cutout, because Apple's allegedly going to be able to fit the true depth camera system needed for Face ID underneath the display, is coming to the regular iPhone. So that also doesn't seem like it's going to be restricted as just a Pro feature for very long, just one generation, and then after that it will be a standard thing across the lineup. And then 2027 comes along with the iPhone 19, also the 20th anniversary since the original iPhone launch, so maybe that's when we get the iPhone XX, or no, that's weird. If you think Apple wanted to do something special for the 20th anniversary, then I guess the special thing is there's no notch, there's no camera cutout, it's just an all-screen display with ultra-thin bezels, and that way you don't have a little intrusion even when you're watching videos in full screen or playing a game like you do right now. And that will again just be restricted to the 18 Pro or 18 Ultra. Who even knows if they'll keep calling these iPhones by the number by the end of it. But I still think it'll be fun to kind of come back to this video to see how accurate Ross Young is in the future. But because Apple has to sign these contracts with their display suppliers so far in advance, I tend to believe this report. It sounds like the kind of gradual rollout of more premium displays over time that Apple would want to stick to. And I'm curious to see if Face ID would perform the same way as it does now, even if it had to be hidden beneath pixels. And I'm also curious to see how the dynamic island would behave if the pixels up there had to go dark in order for the true depth camera system to be able to accurately see you. So they probably have to embed some kind of little dynamic island style animation every time you are unlocking your iPhone. But needless to say, it was very, very smart of the iOS development team to make the camera cutout on the phone a feature, a selling point, because even if Ross Young ends up being wrong and they're not able to deliver on these display specs as quickly as we had hoped, it's not really a big deal, because even with the camera hole completely eliminated and there's literally everything, the front-facing camera, the Face ID sensors, all underneath the display, there's still probably going to be a UI element similar to that of the dynamic island at the top. So it really won't change the way you use your phone all that much. And in case you're wondering, hey, these iPhone upgrades don't sound that major, they don't sound like that big a deal, well, that's why Apple's pushing for the services business so much. They're trying to get you to sign up for Apple Pay Later to get yourself in more debt, or make the iPhone feel like a lot more digestible by splitting it up into 4 payments, trying to get you addicted to Severance and Ted Lasso so that you're paying for Apple TV Plus every month, because they see services as the long-term profitable game, not so much massive hardware innovation, which sucks, because while I don't think I would buy an iPhone foldable, I would still be curious to see what it would be like. And I don't think Apple Reality Pro is going to change the world as much as Apple is hoping to either. But what do you guys think of this display rollout? Do you think 2025 is way too long for Apple to wait for ProMotion to come to a non-Pro? Are you interested in getting rid of the camera cutout at the top, or do you actually like it up there? Do you find it iconic? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. This is your Apple Shape here, and I'll see you all in the next one.